All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist. My name is Antoine Marchildon, and what do we talk about on the show, Alex?
Well,
it doesn't really matter.
Oh, you the rocked me. I got the rock.
I did. We talk about just trying to be artists. Ooh, you call me jabroni. We talk about just trying to be artists, playing the artist. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, and today we're streaming at 10 o'clock because Alex is getting dentures. Everything's getting pulled out. He's getting dentures.
Keep going. No, I'm just going to the dentist. Come on now. I ain't that old.
I know you're not that old.
I'm not the old. I guess I am the old one of the show.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Too well.
Too well?
Too well, in
fact. Is that a joke for me being loud? I am loud.
I don't know if it's a joke. It's just
it's just truth.
Yeah.
It's just truth.
How you been, my friend?
Well, pretty good, because since I saw you like 3 hours ago.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of you lately.
Alex came by today to give me a little visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to see brought Sam by. We had to see those prints in person, man, because I think even though you're taking some pretty good photos, I think seeing like the physical form of these prints is something to behold, and it really is just like it's you just can't capture that in an image, I feel. You know?
Well,
maybe a video though.
Well, it's just going to be stills moving around, to be honest.
All right. Well,
do you realize that your camera's sideways?
Yeah, it's dynamic. We're going dynamic today.
You were leaning like this to like compensate with the camera. Why can't you tilt it properly?
I can. I just didn't actually.
Oh boy.
No, I don't know. It's
some captivating.
It just hangs.
Podcasting.
How's that?
Fine.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit off. Okay, let's get into it. Not that we have anything to get into, but
well, no. This whole year is winding down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is yeah,
this is the year. What have you done with
month and a half here? It'll be new year, new me. Oh, here's something I wanted to actually chit chat about. So, it's so weird this not being in the morning. I feel like I'm like winding down, and I should be actually more enthusiastic because it's the morning.
Oh yeah,
and whatnot. But anyways,
I'm the opposite. I like it. I'm usually in the morning like, oh, come on,
don't
be awake.
Don't hit yourself. Not yet. Not until we have viewers, so we can, do jackass. Anyways, that was stupid. See, look how dumb I am. I can't even talk right now. It's nighttime.
Fair enough. Yeah, you were about to say something else.
Yeah, about so what I learned working on this Kickstarter project that I've been working on, that I've been working on and whatnot, is just there's so many other ideas that pop up and that are like good and they're exciting. You're like, ooh, that'd be a really cool thing to do, and they're all distractions in the long run, right?
Yeah.
They're all
yeah. We're getting back to staying on the bus, and what bus are you on? And
just
I feel like you've been on the bus. You've been doing a really good job.
I am.
Well, you're about to get off the bus at the actual
I wasn't.
The bus. Because your Kickstarter is like almost done. You just got to do a little bit more work to get it actually launched.
Yeah, out the door or whatnot.
And then that's it. Then you got to find a new bus to get.
Yeah, and I already have some ideas for the next bus and whatnot. It's out of context. If anybody's listening to this, they're like, "What are they talking about? Fucking bus?"
Well, if you listen to the previous episodes, you know that staying on the bus means you pick your project or whatever your life path is, I suppose, and you stay on it and you see it to completion.
Hang on it long enough to actually get somewhere you haven't been before. You know what I mean? Like.
Because especially with artists, man, we just we jump around, we do one thing, we like always want to starting something new is like the most exciting thing. It's like the most exciting part. It's like, oh man, I'm so stoked to block in this new thing, and progress is so like it's just like rapid at that moment, because you're like seeing all this new things, and it's like that last, the refinement phase that takes forever, and that's when you're like, I want to kind of get on a new bus. I want to start a new project. I want to, I just need to do something else, and it takes just enough time that it's like, 20, 40, 60 hours, and you're like, oh my God, is this enough yet? Can I just do something else now? It's not done.
Yeah.
So, but no, you got to stay on the bus.
But I was also thinking of like, okay, so you give yourself a plan, you give yourself a point of strategy, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of fall off the wagon or fall off the bus in this case, and you're kind of like second guessing yourself, and you're kind of like not really focused. And then what I did was I went back and I checked out old and new Kickstarters coming out, and as well as old podcasts. The one podcast that we love and that this show is based off of, One Fantastic Week. I replayed one of their last episodes, and I just
you mean like most recent episodes?
Yeah, one of the recent episode. I replayed it. Was last night. Yeah, last night.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like going back to it was like a general going back to his map, and he has his all the little pieces, and he's like, okay, here's the plan of attack, here's the thing, and they like, you know what I mean? If that's what it felt like. It felt like I was going back to the war room, and then I was speaking to my generals, which is just like the thoughts in my heads and stuff like that, and also me understanding like what's the plan and things to look out for and things to consider and whatnot from these other professionals, which is Sam and Pete. And I think in the process of like doing this, this project, I find that you gotta keep doing that like at least a couple times a week, because it's so easy to like get hard on yourself and get bummed out, or like not really put perspective in your time as well. Like for example, remember I was saying like, oh, I want to do this. I want to get this out before the end of the year, and then at the rate I was working, and then also like how much work there really has to be done, you kind of forget your timeline a bit, and then you're like, oh, that's fine, like I can, you will, like, instead of like not putting an extra hour in, or like, hey, I could just stay up just a little bit longer and I could finish this piece and then it's done, and I don't have to reboot and put more energy in it, and then tomorrow I'm all juiced up and I can start a new project. And so that's one thing I really learned, was like you have to constantly remind yourself to go back to like what kind of got you here, not what got you here in the first place, just back to the drawing board, and like look at your notes, look at listen to professionals, and look at the market, and just to like reinforce like, okay, I could
your original intent, I think.
Yeah,
your first idea that you were inspired about, kind of as you started this thing, that was and is a good idea.
Like kind of going back to what got you where I am right now. You kind of I don't know. It's just like what I'm just trying to say is like, it's just good to listen to, I don't even want to say motivational. It's like listening to professionals. Like try to find professional voices like Sam and Pete, or different people on different podcasts, or people that give lectures like David Goggins. He's a motivational athlete speaker person, but he's really, really, really keen on saying like your thoughts, and your what's the thing he kind of harps about? He talks about like every person can like go like just be better and like just go through the pain kind of thing, and just kind of he just I don't know, he's just a motivational guy. And,
he's very motivational. You quote him quite a bit. And I can tell you. But the thing, like, you can't.
He talks about the cookie jar. That's one thing he talks about. He talks about the cookie jar. I'll talk. You want me to talk about? He's got a lot of fun analogies, but like, it is hard to like. You need to listen to a whole talk of his. You know, there were like, 40 minutes. You know, he's got lots of fun snippet, soundbite type comments, but I don't know. You really got to like tune into the whole thing. Oh yeah, most of it. But you know, it's funny. It took me like at least I don't know, like probably 6 hours of listening to him talk to like really understand what he was like all about.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about is the cookie jar, and he talks about the cookie jar is like everybody has that, and you can go in and pull out a treat, and the treat is not like a physical thing. It's a thing where it's like, oh hey, you've done this thing that was hard, and you can do that again, or even harder. You know what I mean? So like.
So what's the hard part of the cookie jar? Like climbing up to get it?
No. There's no hard part of the cookie jar. It's just it's a mental bank of your success, right? And if you do hard stuff and you succeed, or even if you attempt to do it and you failed, you can still go back and reach out like, oh yeah, I've done that thing, and it kind of reminds you, because the soul is pretty weak. You can beat down somebody pretty quick. Verbally, especially yourself, like your own inner thoughts. So essentially what he's saying, like once those inner thoughts come in of your doubt, think about the cookie jar, and like you reach in, and then it's like, oh hey Antoine, you graduated from AI, and you started with 50 people, and your graduating class was like 12 people. You know what I mean? So like out of that 50, like I was one of the 12, and then out of that 12, I was like one of the 5 that actually got a job in the industry I wanted to get, right? So it's like, you must be doing something right?
So you keep like a spank bank of like warm accomplishments that you dive into when you feel down. I got it.
Yeah, not necessarily dive in. It's just kind of like
because you're going to fail. Like you can't succeed without failure, and the failure is going to come. And rather than piss and moan about it, you might as well think about some good stuff you did, I guess.
Sure. But even if it's something like, I don't know, like something like back in high school, I got 3rd place in what's it called again? Like what is it? The 1800
contest.
Oh, shut up, you motherfucker. Is that 800 or not the 800, 1800 or 1400? 1400? Where you go around the track 8 times. Yeah, you go around the track 8 times or something like that.
Okay.
And you did that, and like it got to a place where I was like so exhausted, but I finished the race. You know what I mean? I was still kind of a heavy guy at the time I did that. Or like when we were in jiu-jitsu class, and you like don't take a break during the sparring session. You know what I mean? You like grind through it, and you're like sweaty, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna faint. You know what I mean? But you like pull through, and you like, you know what I mean? Or you don't let somebody, or you like don't quit, right? If you find moments in your life where like you've been like physically beaten, and you just don't quit, you can kind of go back to that spot and like almost like trigger those emotions, and like trying to like, I don't know, shoot it back in you, and like be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm actually a lot stronger than I actually am.
Yeah, it's difficult for people to like kind of bring up positive thoughts. You know, a lot of people fixate on the negative, so I guess it's kind of a useful tool is to like dive into this stuff. But it's a lot easier said than done, you know. And especially if you're a moody artist who's, you know, got self-worth issues and is constantly seeking validation from others. So,
Matt, we already talked about this like ad nauseum. Man, I sound smart there. Nauseum. About my unhealthy inception. Oh, now I just sound stupid. Way to go, Antoine. My healthy obsession. Unhealthy obsession.
Okay.
Of wanting people to like me through my artwork.
Yeah. It's not just you. I think that's almost every artist, I would think.
Well, probably the successful ones, anyways. it's just.
I think there are craftsmen maybe who are a little different than artists. You don't like put their like heart on the line and like, don't invest so deeply. They're like, oh, I'm just I'm gonna learn a skill and kind of hone it, right? Like I think that's like in our industry, it's the difference between like a modeler and like
a concept
an
artist.
Yeah, not even just a concept artist.
Yeah,
some modelers are like sculptors who like have like unique ideas and want to challenge themselves, and then some modelers are okay. Give me a design and I'm going to recreate it.
Yeah,
like I'm a 3D printer, right? And I'm going to use my techniques, and it's going to be very like
exact.
It's a measured practice as opposed to an expression of some communication.
I've said this before. In the video game industry or even the film industry, as a 3D artist, you want to think it as more as a plumber than an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you get hired for a job and you have a set amount of skills for that job.
Yeah.
And then you have tools and techniques that you use to try to do the job that you got hired for at your best capability. Right?
And at the highest level, it's like a production line. Think about those maybe like a Russian doll, those little like things where you hop the one guy and the other, and they make I don't know what they do. But there's probably one guy who's like pulling it off the spinning lathe and sanding it, and then they put it down the line. The next guy paints it, goes down. The next guy lacquers it all up, sends it in, and it's like, you just have your skills, your modeling, your artistry skills, and those are handy. But when like at work, it's those skills get funneled into like a specific task.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more organic than that, but a lot of times
when we were working
on
I got lucky on working on Garden Warfare 1, 2, and 3 because it gives you those games are very stylized, and they gave us a lot of leeway to kind of be creative a little bit. Like there's still like. You
sort of have to be, because
there's a style.
There's some wild asks in that.
Yeah.
That you can't make a system for all the time.
Exactly. So I didn't excel, but I got away with it to the point where I got some. I could stick around and be a part of the team. Also, I think people in general liked me. Not everybody. That's for sure. And like when I was working on FIFA, I got really lucky for essentially doing a bunch of concept art for the opening credits and for this one scene, the game, which was like an opening scene, and I was tasked to like do a bunch of graffiti stuff, and I concepted all of that, like all these graffiti stuff, and like I was working with the lead at the time. I forget his name. It was Sean. Anyways, his name was Sean, and it was cool because like. Once again, I got to be creative so many times when like especially working on FIFA. Yeah. It's like, but this is the thing though. There was half of the time, like the half of the contract, I was doing these concepts in these like stylized graffiti stuff and whatnot, and then the other half of the contract, I was doing stadium roofs. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did a bunch of a few stadium roofs.
Stadium roofs.
Yeah,
see, like that's so specialized. It's like such a specific thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's exactly what I'm talking about, being on the production line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So, and like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use some of those production like methods that I learned in the industry, right? And also using my creativity to like try to like I don't know like try to balance it out, and so it kind of like works in a way where I can hopefully generate income and do this for the rest of my life and whatnot, and then also fund other projects that I want to do down the line. So that's
I hope that happens. Good luck with all that.
It's not that it won't. Sorry. I don't hope. I just got to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a path out there. It seems crazy because, we've come from this like structured world of, you apply for a job, you get a contract, and you get paid. And that's pretty much the only way people feed themselves and pay rent. So now it's like you're stepping into this new world, but it's not so new that nobody's never done it before, and we can't point to like a dozen people online who are doing the damn thing already.
Yeah.
And and when you look at the skills they have, it's like, no, like it's not a mystery, right? What they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's just, you're just dipping your first toe in the cold water. And I don't know if maybe you felt it shiver up your body.
I'm definitely not dipping, Alex.
you got to dive right in there.
Dude, I'm cannonballing in this motherfucker, dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So yeah, it's exciting. Everybody's really excited. All your friends, all 3 of us, we're all really can't wait to see what happens, and think it's going to go well.
Wait, there's you, and who's the 2 other people?
Gavin and Sam.
Gavin and Sam.
Yeah.
You don't talk
Sam.
You don't talk to other people?
No, I talk to my coworkers about it. I let them know what you're up to, and people will say, "Oh, what's Antoine doing?" Because we had the wrap party for the game.
Oh, did you go to it?
Yeah, I went, and people were expecting you to go there, but
really,
I was like, he probably doesn't like to party or something.
Why? Because I'm busy eating plain potatoes.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Gavin was gonna give me his code or whatever because he was sick at the time.
Yeah.
But at that moment I was like, I couldn't justify going down there because like I have to go down all the way down there, and that's gonna take like an hour and some, right? Like at least an hour, and then you're gonna mingle around. I don't know. I'm gonna hang out for maybe 2 hours, maybe an hour, and I'm gonna drink some alcohol, and then I'm gonna have a hangover because I don't drink really, and I have to take another hour to go back home. So in total, I might spend 4 to 5 hours, and I could have easily took out of those 5 hours. I could have took 2 of those hours to relax at home, and another 2 of those hours to work on work, and then prepare for the next day to, get more work done. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And and I'm happy I did. So.
Sounds like my day, man. Well, except the opposite of what you were describing, that didn't happen to you is basically what happened to me. Went out there, had some drinks. They were not taking drink tickets. It was just open bar, basically.
Oh no!
And so I was like out till about 12:30. It was a good time. Like I don't regret it. Even though like the next day I was feeling like a slug. I missed wrestling class. I was just too worried I was gonna shit my pants or something like that. So I was not gonna go.
That's fine.
But like ruined my whole next day. Just kind of sucked. But at the same time, like
I'm surprised you even went to work on Friday because people always take
half the team was gone, man. Well,
of course.
That's part of, dude. I never take off slow days like that. I love going to work when it's like nobody's there
to bother you.
Quiet. Yeah, I love it, man. That's why, like, this year, usually they give you, EA will give you like, if Christmas falls on a Wednesday, then you get like kind of Wednesday, Thursday, or like 2 holidays. Then they'll just give you Friday and Monday and Tuesday off. But this year they're like, no, you're gonna come in and work those days. But a lot of people are probably going to book it off, but I'm not. I'm going to go in and I'm going to sit there. I'm going to be one of 5 people in the whole studio.
Yeah.
And be as productive as I possibly can be. But, you rely on so many other people. There's only so much you can get done anyways. I can't wait, to be honest. I think it's going to be the best few shifts of work I have all month. So, yeah, looking forward to that. That's what I have to look forward to. I was thinking, man, today, like, I'm like, oh, tomorrow we gotta do this podcast because, I'm busy tomorrow. I got work tomorrow. I'm like, Antoine, you never has to say that again. You never has to say, I've got to go to work tomorrow, right?
No, you know what? I used to be really hard on my time. Like I'd be like, oh, I gotta get up at 6 and like I gotta get up at 7 and it's like I gotta get up and do exercise and like be really super productive. And I was fighting myself and fighting. And so now I just like get up at like 8 or 7:40, and I just like take my time and like just do exercise and then like tidy up the house a bit, like like do the dishes, get coffee ready, and then like, hop in the shower. And once I get out, the water's already done, boiled.
Is it easier to get out of bed and like do your chores knowing that your whole day is like kind of for you?
Yeah.
You're not like tempted to like say, hey, I'm on my own now, or like I'm a grown up now. I can sleep in whenever I want because I can make my own hours. And is there temptation to like live that kind of life where you kind of let it go, or is it just way more easy, like you're just more motivated because it's all about you now?
Well, okay, so this is what, like, I'll be honest. There's been a lot of time. There's been an equal amount of times where I've had bad days, and there's been an equal amount of times where I've had good days. It's been very yin yang. And I want more good days than I want, bad days. But this is my first endeavor, so I'm like really learning about it. So what I've noticed is that if I don't, I have to hold myself accountable, but I can't, be the slave and the master at the same time, right? Because then it's like I'm just self-harming myself, and then nothing gets done, right? And I start eating terrible, and I don't pay attention about my sleep schedule and stuff like that, and it's just like then I beat myself up, and then it's just a spiral. And so I just find that it's like, just like today, like I just wasn't really feeling it, and I just didn't have that great of a like workout. But I did some workout, and I got a little bit of a sweat going, and then I like did my dishes, and I made my bed, and I took a shower and whatnot. And even though it wasn't that great of a workout, I still tidied up my place, and I still got at least something done, some sort of exercise done. And then it's like, well, now I'm gonna head. I gotta, get to work. And so, I just started up the new piece. I got a new stretch goal done today. Mm-hmm. So that's great. It's one of the.
So it's great when you feel like you accomplished something in a day.
Yeah,
you can
for sure.
Kind of check off. Like
well, no, it's the ZBrush stuff, and the ZBrush stuff is so fucking quick.
Yeah.
I just since I've been learning more about ZBrush to use it to print like stuff, like I've been learning, Boolean and cutting stuff, and then just like kind of messing with the tools around.
Yeah.
And also like from my last gig at EA working on the new PvZ Garden Warfare game.
Yeah.
I learned so much tricks in ZBrush from like Kevin and like just little tips around from people and stuff. When I would ask a question, they just show me, right? And I'm just so much more comfortable in ZBrush. And like I remember I used to complain about ZBrush because the UI was just so stupid looking. Now I'm just like, okay, now I know enough where it's like I can do a lot of cool stuff. I'm still learning, right?
Yeah.
But I'm at a point where I'm like pretty comfortable with it now, where I could actually kind of, if I wanted to, I could probably actually kind of teach somebody how to sort of use it,
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
So it's just like don't beat yourself up. Just like I said, like if I just don't hold on to these like miscellaneous grudges where it's like, my workout was terrible and now everything else has to be shitty. It's just like, no, just move on to the next.
You still find stuff to be grumpy about, eh?
Exactly. It's like just forget it and move on to the next like little thing you can do right.
Do you find you're grumpy less, or you I don't want to say happier because happiness is kind of an illusion, and
it's a fleeting thing. Same thing with
definitely like I think there's an amount of grumpiness in your life that is like you can strive to be less grumpy. And
are you talking about that one time when we went for sushi? I was so grumpy.
Well, hey, it happened to me like 2 days ago. We went out.
It happened the next day.
And I was the grumpy one.
It happened the next day.
Was that the next day?
Yeah, because on Friday, we went out for sushi, and I was being a big butthead.
Yeah, you're real. Sometimes when Gavin's around, you just like fucking. He's like your housewife, and you come home and you just. Let him fucking have it. You just let it go, and you funnel it more towards Gavin than me too. He's like your emotional sponge of just like negative just projections. But
I think it only happens when you're around too, though. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure. Well, you know what it was? I was eating a certain way, and then I slipped and ate really shitty.
Oh yeah, that's right. You had that bad binge fest where you ate.
Yeah, no, I had
crazy shit.
What did I eat? I was pissed off because we didn't go for pizza and you guys went for sushi.
But you had eaten pizza that day.
I know. I know. I had 3 slices already of pizza at the Pizza Garden over there.
Yeah.
And I had something else too. I had Tim Tams. That's what I had. I had Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had Tim Tams. Yeah, it was terrible.
Was I?
And plus, I didn't exercise that day too, so that just stacked. But I was so much happier the other day. You know why?
The next day?
Yeah.
When we were going to watch the UFC at Adam's house.
Yeah. Not because we're gonna go. No, not because of that. It's because I exercised the next day because I was like because like the more I'm spending time with myself and the more I'm like in my own like I don't know in my own thoughts, I can kind of like I don't know have more time to lean back and like think about. And that note, lean back and think about like okay, why did that happen? Why did I feel that way? And like. And it's just easier to see the patterns, and you already kind of know it, but it just it settles, and it's almost like cement. It gets really rock solid. So when that little feeling of anxiety kind of comes up, I'll just go do some like push-ups or whatever. Or something like
exercise is like the number one thing that you can kind of rely on, no matter what.
Yeah, well,
it's a pretty fail-safe way to feel
it's like,
a little bit better about yourself.
If you get nothing done, at least you got a workout in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just got a workout in.
You never, when you're done a workout, you never forget doing it. You're always like, oh, man, I'm glad I made the time to do that.
Yeah, but even if it was a bad one, the fact that you actually tried.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You showed up, you did it.
Yeah,
because there's so many days where you didn't do that, and you see so many people who don't ever do that, and that helps motivate too.
That's the goal, to get like that attitude towards everything I do in life. You know what I mean? Like that attitude towards like my career or like what I'm trying to do right now.
Well,
go ahead.
I wonder, like, because when you combat misery, right? You're like, man, I'm fucking miserable today. Is that I always wonder, like, do I just will myself? Do I just like kind of like get in my own head and say, okay, well, just fucking be in a good mood today? Like, why are you so pissy? Or do I have to like do I need to make some like meta changes in my life? Like, oh, this thing I'm doing, this, I don't know what it is. Like maybe you're transiting to work and your commute's really long and that's making you miserable. So if you move closer to work and your commute was reduced, like you make this change in your life that reduces your. Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking of examples. But,
it could be like you have a shitty shoelace that's like, it has that little plastic end. You know what I'm talking about? But that plastic end is broken. And every time you have to retie your shoelaces, you have to like fiddle around putting the stupid end through the little hole.
Sure.
It's like just buy a new pair of fucking laces, right? So you don't have to deal with it. Costs you like $1, right?
That's a really that's a small example, but it could be something as large as like you hate your job, it's a dead end job, and you decide to go to school or something. And then I think when you set yourself on the right path, you don't really have to will yourself to be happy anymore because you've made this like meta change in your life that just enables this more positive mood. And so when I'm like feeling that now, I'm like, do I need to make a big change in my life or some degree of change in my life? Or do I just need to have a chat with myself like I'm a 10-year-old and say, look, you need to just, what's the problem? Why do you have to be so upset right now? Not that I'm that upset. It's just like, sometimes you're cheerful and sometimes you're just like kind of closed off. And
well, sometimes it's a chemical thing, dude. You know what I mean? Like, like, let's say you don't eat anything one day, like not say one day. I mean, like let's say you feel stressed out and you have some anxiety and you're kind of snappy. It's like, well, maybe your blood sugar is too low and maybe you need to eat a piece of fruit.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like your emotion, like a lot of emotional stuff can also be linked to, like, are you exercising? Are you stretching? Are you, like,
your
like,
diet
are you
is a
taking
difficult
care?
one.
Oh yeah.
Because
Especially being a bunch of nerds like us.
well, it's hard for me to just say like it's easy for me to know, oh, I worked out this morning. Like it's like a binary thing. I'm feeling better because of that.
Yeah.
But it's like my mood, it's like from diet maybe, like like I don't know. Like what foods are causing what, I have no idea. I'm sure that if I just like ate McDonald's French fries, I'd feel terrible an hour later. But I don't know. Is there a spectrum to that? Like, is pasta? Is that going to make me feel good or bad about myself later?
Well, it's almost how much you eat of it, right? Like I remember, I was eating clean. Actually, this happened at the Friday. I was all grumpy. We're eating sushi.
Yeah.
So the morning was going fine, and I decided to make pasta, and like I made that, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little bit extra because I've been eating clean. It's pasta. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm eating chocolate bars or anything like that. Of course, I went overboard, and then of course you need more sauce because there's more pasta, right?
Yeah.
So that's full of sugar as well, right? So I think what happened was I like opened the floodgates. Like my body was like, more, give me more. So Tim Tams and pizza.
But like half of it is mental as well, because I remember like when I stopped drinking like sugar sodas,
Sugar sodas?
Sugar sodas. Yeah, like pops. Because I still drink sodas, just I drink the non-sugar ones.
Oh, you mean diet?
Yeah, diet ones. And then you're like, I feel bad if I drank a sugar soda, but if I drink a no sugar soda, then I don't feel so bad because I'm like, well, it's fine. There's no sugar in it. And then like after like 6 months, you like read stuff where you're like, the no sugar sodas actually aren't that good for you. Now all this now it's like, oh, okay, now I got to feel bad about having even those. And I just you can flip back and forth on these stimuli, and I don't know how much it has to do with the chemical intake of it.
You kind of brought up the thing I was talking earlier about being the slave and the master, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's a tug of war that you don't want to be a part of because you put these limitations on yourself, and then you tell the slave self of you to be like, don't do those things, and then you do those things, and then future slave owner comes by and says, you fucked up. And then you're like, I fucked up. I'm such a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
You get down on yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, you just gotta like, I don't know, you just can't beat yourself up. And that seems like a really like logical and like everybody says it, you know what I mean? But like, it's so easy to do it and you don't even know you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, sometimes I'm in a grumpy mood because I'm beating myself up over something, but sometimes I'm like in a grumpy mood because like some other person upsets me or some other like, I don't know, a thing, like an event happens. It's hard for me to like, I guess, think of an example here, but sometimes it's external stimuli, sometimes it's internal.
Okay, well, for one thing, I stopped listening to like a lot of political stuff these days, and or like social events or whatever. And I try to stay away from that because I would end up getting invested in it. And it's like, why am I getting so in such a like uproar, like a hoot, like a just like putting all this time and effort and this focus, and it's pulling you in, and you're just kind of just yelling to yourself. You're not really even putting it out there,
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment I hang out with you guys, or I hang out with somebody, or I talk with them, and I'll say, "Oh, have you heard?" And and you just go rattling off, and then people start backing away slowly, like, "Oh, fucking Antoine's insane," you know. So it's you got to be careful with that kind of stuff because it does affect you, and it's kind of like propaganda. You know what I mean? Like art. I've been dealing with this. I've been thinking about this notion where people are like music and movies. Those don't influence people to do bad things or whatever. And the thing is, like, well, what's propaganda? You know what I mean? Like propaganda. Once upon a time, used to be big posters, or like they used to do cartoons, or they used to do like propaganda videos about stuff. You know, like Reefer Madness. You ever heard of that? Reefer Madness?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was propaganda to scare people into, essentially, it was scare people into marijuana. So this one dude could keep his paper mills going for newspaper because hemp was actually a lot cheaper and easier to grow. And they were afraid that was going to replace paper. So they did this whole campaign on that stuff. And like people, you know, like, oh, you'll jump out of a window and, rape people if you smoke marijuana.
I've never actually seen Reefer Madness. I've just heard.
It's ridiculous. It really is. It's really ridiculous. But and like that's propaganda. But you could easily be like, well, that could be art too, right? You're generating giving people emotions and ideas to like think about and talk about. You know what I mean? And I think that's true with even like stuff you
Art's
consume.
Trying to shape you. It's trying to motivate you. Change.
It's not necessarily. It's just kind of like some people just put it out there as noise, and then it's however somebody takes it and runs with it. Like you lose, like someone could I don't know, like someone could make a painting, and someone might be like, "This is the most horrifying painting I've ever seen," and some person might be like, "Oh, this is actually a really beautiful painting," and whatnot. It's just like it's all depends on how people run with it, right?
Yeah.
And with I don't know, with like media and stuff like that, like especially with like I don't know, like with the new Star Wars being, obviously like just I don't know, just so blatantly they're trying to be so PC and be so progressive, and it's blowing up in their face.
Well, all of Disney kind of has that this like cultural, like there's a little bit of like, I guess, sort of leftist narrative in the films nowadays, which is,
it's whatever.
I don't know. I think it is coming from a good place.
Sure, of course it is. A lot of things are.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of things maybe Adolf Hitler felt he was coming from a good place.
Oh, of course, you got to bring in Hitler.
You got to look at the extremes, right?
That's true. Yeah, Stalin.
Like, kind of bring it back in. But like that's what TV was invented in Germany to propagandize the whole party at the time.
Oh, dude, not just that, but like Soviet Russia, man, like they were all about that. You know what I mean? Like all their media had to go through a big fucking filter, a big filter where like everything had to be checked off and like perfect, and you couldn't say anything bad about the party. You couldn't say anything bad about certain politicians. You couldn't make jokes about sex or bring up homosexuals. Like nothing. You couldn't it was like can't do nothing.
You gotta be in that box.
Yeah, and that can shape you. Well, here's an example. I just recently was listening to this podcast about this one comedian called Yakov Smirnoff. Have you heard of that comedian?
I have heard of this comedian.
He has this one punchline. He goes, "What a country,"
Okay.
And he was talking about he was a comedian back in like Soviet, like not Soviet Russia, but he was in communist run Ukraine, and he was saying like he was doing these cruise ships at the time, like he was allowed to go on these cruise ships and perform as a Russian comedian, but like of course all his jokes had to go through a filter and they all had to go through like this certain thing or whatever. and he was saying like he was on this cruise ship, and they liked him how he performed, and like he was saying like, oh, like the only way I can go back is like if I could bring my parents because they like he wants them to like come with them because or something. He just wanted his parents to go with him on the cruise ship. But so at the time, these cruise ships were like a second party. So either the cruise ship would be run by American or British or a different country, and then they would let Soviet people, some of the more wealthier people, to try to like they let them kind of go on the cruise ship. You know what I mean? They like kind of have like it was like a little tiny thing to entertain the people from
Oh, I see. They want like because they figure that they're like a mess or something, and they're like it's going to be kind of like for the elites to sort of like scoff at it and.
Well, no, like people. Like, these are still people, right? So they have to have some sort of entertainment, right? So they were still allowed to go like going to some certain countries they were allowed to go to, and like they were allowed to do certain tiny things.
Is it like how you feel like if everyone compares themselves to somebody else? You know what I mean? Like that's what the whole classist system is. It's like they feel like more like richer next to when they're next to some poor folks. Is that what's going on?
No. It's not. It's not that. It's not that. It's that they wanted to show the world like, oh, our communist people like to go out too and do things. So they go on, they let them go on, do little, they're people too. They have to go on trips, right?
Okay.
But they can only go on trips that were like really catered, and like they would always have they can only have like these cruise ships. Apparently, they always had KGB. Yeah. They had KGB. What are they called? KGB. Yeah, they're just KGB. Anyways, they're just like people that are just make sure you don't say anything or get out of line or actually talk or mingle with Americans or British people too much. Like you have to like really And anyways, this comedian, back to the point of this comedian, he did such a good job as a comedian on this cruise ship that one of the like captains was like, if he wants my quarters, like my sleeping quarters, he can have it. We just like him so much, we want him back. And then what was really interesting, what he said was, he's like, wait. So if you do something that's better than somebody else, you get rewarded more than everybody else. You know what I mean? He couldn't understand the idea of being valued more than somebody else and getting treated better because of it.
He's not giving anybody his room, for the night, right?
Because in being in a communist country, you get paid all the same. You get
they're trying to eliminate that idea that
the idea of like if you do a little bit more and you're really good at it, you'll be rewarded more. He didn't have that in his vocabulary. Like his parents didn't have that in his vocabulary, and him himself didn't get that. And once that idea got in his head, where he's like, if I just do good and work hard, I'll get a little bit more in life, and there I can build more for myself. You know what I mean? And so, and that was the point I was making is like that was through years and years and years of propaganda and art, controlling art, and making people think a certain way. Where like you would think like, oh, these Soviet and these Russian people like why are so many like sticking around? And even if you go back to Russia now, old people will be like, it was better when it was Soviet time and stuff like that. Like they're like, I don't want to say like brainwash is kind of being rude in a way. It's just like it was just what they were fed at the time, like through their music, through their comedians, through like all their art, you know what I mean? All like Soviet art, stuff like that, were all painted by these amazing painters, but it was always showing Russia in the best light. You know what I mean? It was showing Russia like being healthy and working hard and like everything was worked and like everything was running well and stuff like that. But it's the complete opposite. There's all these documentations of the gulags and like all these crazy pictures of like people in bread lines waiting in bread lines for like 5 hours and stuff like that, and having nothing. You know what I mean? So
where'd all the money go? Was it just corrupt and just went to like
yeah, of course,
the czar or whatever?
Yeah, man, Stalin.
Yeah,
but also like they had nothing to really outsource either. You know what I mean? Anything that was like another thing I learned about fucking Soviet Russia, like at the time where let's say Croatia, like if you had a big house, the government owns that house now, and now they will move in other families to live in that house because it's a big enough house for other people to live in.
They move folks in with you?
Yeah. Like people that didn't have houses, they're like, oh, these poor people, they can live in this house now that you paid for, but it's not yours anymore because it's the states. So yeah. But anyways,
sounds terrible.
But like the way you like certain media you listen to and certain art you listen to will shape you a certain way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Like, I agree. That's why I like shows like Paw Patrol and stuff, trying to teach you and stuff. It's good. It's still propaganda, I suppose. It's just kind of toward education and such.
Yeah. Propaganda is not a terrible thing. Propaganda can be used as a really good thing. Like a PSA to be like, wash your hands when you handle meat. You know what I mean? And then you get the little commercial of like, the little dude told me to wash your hands because of bacteria, right?
Yeah.
But you could easily have that same message where it's like, the greedy capitalism is killing people, and it's like they're terrible. You know, it's like it's the same. That's what they were fed in Russia, right? It's like greedy capitalism, right?
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. Sorry, I went on a big rant about communism.
Dude, I learned a lot about Russia just now.
Yeah, me too.
USSR type Russia.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. Well,
what I wanted to say about that rant, I know it has nothing.
Oh, you did have something to say. Okay.
Well, what I wanted to say about that whole rant is just like, I know it's like off topic, and we're supposed to be talking about. Well, I guess we are talking about art. It's just like when people say music and movies and maybe even video games doesn't affect how people see and think and feel, I have to call bullshit on that now because literally countries can be moved to war over film and media and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like during World War I, there was a video, a cartoon, an illustration, like a little cartoon of this ship that got shot down during World War I. It was an American ship that was a cargo ship that got shot like that just got got fucking blown up in the sea, and they did a reenactment, like a little illustration of it, and it was like a poorly, crudely done animation, but it had nothing to really do with it wasn't like this would exactly happen. It was just like, okay, ship got shot down and it sunk by a German vessel, but they made it like, oh, it's like the nighttime and like this big battleship comes in and it destroys this carrier, and then they show these little silhouettes of people falling off and drowning in the water and stuff. And that cartoon actually, during that time when people saw that, people got oh my god, look what they're doing, they're fucking just killing everybody, and we should revolt and send our troops down there and fight them now and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like
I think I've seen that.
Okay, cool. You know what I'm talking about. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing when the Vietnam War. You ever heard the Gulf of Tonkin?
Oh gosh, the one true conspiracy that everyone points to when you
exactly.
Conspiracy's bullshit.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
So, anyways, once again,
another Bugs Bunny joke.
Yeah, no, this boat gets exploded or shot down or whatever, and then it turns out that never happened. That was just a fake. It was clickbait before clickbait. It was in a newspaper, but it just shows that someone might not say that's art, but that is media, and media can be manipulated as art or vice versa. If that makes any sense. So yeah, it's So yeah, like it
Yeah,
actually,
but is it happening by accident where you play Grand Theft Auto and then you have like a slight more inkling to go and shoot somebody or something like that? Like that's the argument that people are trying to push constantly.
yeah, but I think it's a slippery soap because soap is definitely slippery, Antoine.
I think
I
that
think it's
works.
yeah, I think it's slippery soap. That's not a saying. That's like something Kevin would say.
It is, yeah.
Uh, well, the video game thing, it doesn't have as much legs, I think, because when people play video games, they're kind of like delving into this kind of world. They're kind of like playing Maple Leaf in a weird way, and they're like looking at a puzzle and they're trying to solve the puzzle, right? And the puzzle could be like, oh yeah, I gotta go rob this car and like drive it to whatever or have a shootout in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? But it's still kind of like an algorithm that's trying to be solved, right? It's very different than if you listen to music, because like you can listen to music and then music can hit you with a bunch of words or certain lyrics, and then in a weird way it can like kind of bring your own ideas in, right? It kind of gets left up to interpretation, like books and stuff like that, or even certain film, or it gets the brain kind of like thinking, and it gets kind of like you start filling in the spots. You know what I mean? It's like some songs can say some stuff, and then it gives you some ideas, and then you fill in the gaps that you don't really know. You know what I mean? And then when somebody actually,
it's not always so literal though. It's like sometimes like some music just conveys power, and it might not even be directly or kind of violence, like Pantera. It's just violent sounding. Like to me, like Iron Maiden and Metallica are like powerful kind of music, but then Pantera is like a little bit more like aggressive and violent kind of music.
Oh, for sure.
Even though really the themes can be totally interchangeable as to what's really like being talked about in the song. So like people gravitate towards that and consume that without harboring any negative thoughts. Like doesn't always result in direct aggression afterwards.
No, for sure.
It can, but it's just a weird thing. Like I don't know, people just want to experience the negativity as well as the positivity.
Look at the big outrage of Joker. Remember that when that was coming out, people were saying like, "Oh, this is glorifying."
I saw it today.
People that are. Oh, you saw the movie?
Yeah, that's where Sam and I were before we stopped by your house.
Oh, okay.
It was really good.
Yeah, and people were saying like this is glorifying, mass shooters and stuff like that, which it wasn't. But it does paint.
Well, because it's an anti-hero movie. Not even anti-hero.
It's not an anti-hero. It's a villain. It's a villain movie.
It's like Breaking Bad in a way, where you're kind of cheering for the bad guy a little bit. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. But people got upset about that because they're saying like, oh, you're painting the picture of someone that's what's the word I'm looking for? A maniac murderer, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what the Joker is. He's a maniac murderer.
Yeah.
And they're painting him in a way where like you have some sympathy.
For sure.
Sympathy for him. You know what I mean?
You don't want him to get caught. There's something like more, even though he's killing people.
Yeah.
And that seems like the ultimate kind of sin.
Like look at Scarface. You know what I mean? Like the whole time it's this person that's
on
like
his side.
pretty much you're on his side. You know?
Yeah. It's so weird how like there's something more vile to people than just killing somebody.
Yeah.
Even unjustly, like you're willing to take a side because he does all the cool stuff. Like he never really backs down. He takes his ass kicking and he gets back up, and he doesn't really. He complains a little bit. That's maybe kind of the. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of the personality to keep you on the Joker's side in that movie, they give him a lot of sort of positive personality traits, like when he actually he becomes really confident at times, and that's when you're really like, fuck yeah, go out there and kill that guy that pissed you off. And you're so on his side that you just want him to do the bad shit that is terrible.
Yeah. But no.
Those are good qualities, and you invest so highly.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah,
that guy, Pablo Escobar.
Yeah,
Escobar.
Is he Cuban or is he Mexican?
No, he's from Mexico. Yeah. Oh, no, wait. Is he Cuban?
Well, he's dead now, right?
Wow, he's definitely dead. Yeah. Well, no, like he when that TV show came out on Netflix, people were like, "Oh man, we really like this character," and stuff like that, and like people were wearing like Pablo Escobar T-shirts, and like people would go to like visit the town that he was like running at the time. Like it became a tourist destination, and there was like these people that were like dressing up like the guy, like Pablo Escobar, and like taking pictures and stuff like that, and it's just like you're like the people are profiting off of the story of a very, very cruel man.
Yeah.
And it's getting glorified in a certain way, right? And stuff like that. But it's almost kind of like, I don't know. It's you're playing make believe. In I don't know. It's hard to like, I don't know, to quantify. It's
interesting, right? And people,
it is interesting.
Want to hear about it. It's like the rock star autobiography, and they're doing drugs and getting up to no good, and it's like taking years off their life, and they regret it. But man, it makes for interesting like read later
stories.
On. Yeah. And they're profiting off of that, again, because people are just so riveted by it that they just
other people are profiting off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like having that, if someone could profit off of like doing that, like and swaying people to like watch and be entertained and stuff like that, I think the same can happen in like getting people riled up to do something wrong, or get an individual riled up to do something negative, right? You can have a big positive, like on the internet right now, like Mr. Beast planting 20 million trees right now, like, and it's like it's up at like over 6 million trees like donated. Like they're doing this thing where it's like dollar for dollar, so it's like every dollar is one tree, and they're like over $6 million right now. They're probably in the tens right now. But like that's a positive thing, right? And it was like a meme, right? And like people got behind this meme, and some people, it might be a like there might be scenarios where it's a vice versa effect where someone might release a post and it could just be a complete fucking lie, and it's like something that's very triggering or something that's very like negative, like for example, like when like Brazil was like on fire, like there was like a moment where like all of Brazil is like on fire and stuff like that, and there was a part of that like that was happening, but later, if you like, I was digging into it, and it turns out all these celebrities posting like, oh, help Brazil and help these Amazon rainforests, all the pictures they were posting were all these old pictures of like an old fire that happened like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, and the fire that was actually happening wasn't even the biggest one they've ever had. It was just like this weird kind of like media storm and Instagram posts that were getting shared and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it became this. Yeah, it just escalates, and once again, that that can happen through just making music or movies or whatnot.
Well, there's something like it feels good about discovering like an injustice. It's like we were talking about earlier the conspiracy theory, and you're like, what good does this do to my life? Consuming this stuff. And, then being that guy later on at the party talking about it, freaking everybody out. But like, it's because when you first discover it, and you're like, man, fuck this. It feels so good, and you feel like you're discovering, like you feel like you're a little bit more outside of the matrix.
And there's a reason why it's always dudes, because dudes just want to like be the first.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. You don't like feeling dumb, and you want to distance yourself from that ignorance that you had before.
Yeah. Meanwhile, all those people, I'm one of those people where it's like, meanwhile, you're just like the same individual shoveling the same stupid shit in your mouth, and playing the game, hopping on the subway system, or hopping on the bus and going to your job, and just playing everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Aside from that awkward moment where you kind of talk about it, and no one wants to hear it, your life is the same; it's unchanged, and You're not going and donating, $5 to some refugee cause or something like that. Which, who knows if that's even the way to go.
Oh man, we went on a little bit of a journey there of this podcast. If anybody watches this, they're going to be like, "What the fuck?
Where's the art? Where's the dungeons and where's the dragons?" I don't think we talked about it at all.
No, we didn't. Well, it's about art. We're just talking about art. Well, we talked about feelings about art and process, right? So, did you get any artwork done
this week? I did. I've been printing the same thing over and over again, just kind of making it a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more kind of like print and go. Because at first there was a lot of supports, and now I've got it in a good state where when you peel it off, there's still a few supports because I've got some overhangs, but it's really not a pain in the ass to take off. So I'm pretty happy with where my tower thing's at. Aside from that, I've been working a lot on communicating my ideas more because I feel like I'm starting these projects, and I don't know if some of it's for me, and I think some of it's for people who are gonna discover this thing, and I'm putting a lot of energy into kind of communicating what I'm working on, because it's not like I've got this map and I've got these pieces and there's not another project that I can point to and say this is this. So I'm working on kind of sort of some visual communication there, and I don't want to share just yet because it's in progress, but I think it's going to be really fun and something I might do more often. And I don't know. I'm going to target to get it done before the end of the month. And it's not really anything new. It's just kind of like it's like it's the end of the year, and I'm sort of looking back at the artwork that I've created recently, like last 6-8 months, or even a couple of years, I guess, because I've got my card projects, which kind of are related, and span back quite a ways.
Yeah.
But all my artwork that I feel is related to one another in this kind of like in our sort of this like tiger skull wrapper I've got. I'm just gonna put out a communicative package about what's going on there. So that's about as much as I can really say right now, but I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun little thing to share.
You said something interesting at the beginning there, where God damn it, you're talking there for a bit, and I kind of forgot what you said.
Could have been that interesting.
No, you said something where it's like stuff. You said you're communicating. You want to communicate out more. Mm-hmm. You're saying there was stuff that was for you, and there was stuff that was like for others.
Yeah, like as I'm explaining, as I'm like putting down kind of on paper and in imagery what the end result is
but
going
that's
to
still
look
you,
like,
though.
I'm figuring it out myself a little bit more than I had before. Even though I haven't added to the art, just by kind of describing what it is.
Sam said this, not your Sam. Sam from One Fantastic Week is he was saying you are not your consumer's product.
Your consumer. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that, and I was like, that's a lot of sense.
He's referring kind of to a little bit in a monetary sense there, where what you feel art is worth versus what somebody else who isn't an artist feels art is worth. Like you and I know how much art we do. I do art every day, and I sell none of it to anybody. So it feels kind of valueless in a way, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, but don't make sure you don't get caught in this trap where it's like, oh, this is what I'm gonna think. This is what I think is gonna make money or whatever. Like this is how I can get into things. It's like, don't fall in that trap, man. Because what people buy is they buy that thing that's unique. That's like you or whatever. It's like you're offering your these dungeon tiles you're making, right? Like I've said this before to you. Like they're not buying a dungeon tile; they're buying a Alex Kovakowski dungeon tile. It's like the dungeon tile that you want to show made from you, made by your hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot with that project because I'm like, if I'm just like,
or any project you do, like your
yeah,
cards or like your other stuff, right? So
I don't know, like with those dungeon tiles, I just want to make really nice looking. I kind of just want to make flat dungeon tiles that don't have any 3D printed stuff in them at all, which is like, is really would be a lot of fun to work on. I think just given the work I've been doing lately, but at the same time, it's like I feel almost like compelled to make 3D printing projects, like or make all my projects involve 3D printing to some degree because I
not
invested in it
necessarily.
so much. And
Not
it's like I
necessarily.
feel like if I make this a 2D only flat kind of printed project, then it's like it almost feels a bit at odds and that it doesn't play well with the things I'm 3D printing. So that's something I'm trying to figure out for myself right now.
Why can't you have both?
I don't know. I just wonder if if I go down two different paths, then kind of one excludes the other, and it'd be nice if they didn't, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but for me, we've discussed this where like I want to do. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame. I want to do fantasy stuff more than I want to do sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And having said that, I would probably do a Patreon that's focused more on fantasy oriented stuff.
Yeah.
And then if I really want to, do Kickstarter stuff for the more sci-fi stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it's all forbidden prints, right? Like you wouldn't want to rebrand it.
That'd be for that. But this is the thing, though. Like, even if you have like another project, like I said, like I would like to do a board game or a card game or whatever. You could easily be like, "Hey, this is my new endeavor that I want to try out." You know what I mean? And you have people's attention.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think of it? Like, get your feedback or whatever, and get people talking about it, right? And you know what? People, if they're already following you and you're doing something different, that's like, I don't know, like somewhat in the same realm, or like just something, or maybe even something completely different. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? People say, nah, or like, hey, this is actually a really cool thing. You know what I mean? As long as you like communicate it properly and you show like what you're making. You know what I mean? But that depends though, because like if it's a Patreon, because that's completely different, right? Because you're like making this set thing. You know what I mean? And that's why like a Kickstarter or just something else. I don't know, not necessarily Kickstarter, but just something else. You can offer that as well. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I think with
like, don't pigeonhole yourself. You can like, don't spend too much time on it. Like it's be better to just like do the thing and then learn from it, and then from that there you can kind of like fall into where you're trying to like kind of not even necessarily go, just like trying to like I don't know where this is going to lead me at all. Who knows? Maybe this might be really successful, and maybe I might not look back and not do fantasy stuff at all, or maybe very little. Who knows? I have no idea. But I'm trying to make plans, right?
If you go down the fantasy road and decide, you know what, not for me actually, I was kind of digging that sci-fi stuff, then you're all of a sudden you're like, well, I was better off just making a sci-fi Patreon because now I can really feel like I can commit to it and service a monthly updating kind of routine where that Patreon lends itself to, right? Because that's your worry, right? Is that you're gonna have all the sci-fi stuff. People are gonna join your Patreon and be like, "This is dope. I want more." And then you're like, "Sorry, making fantasy now. You're welcome to print this stuff, but don't expect anything new until I'm done with the fantasy thing."
Well, I'd rather jump off the edge and see what happens instead of worry to death and not do anything, sitting on the sidelines. Some sort of stupid fucking quote about.
It's better to just fail if you.
Yeah, man. You just gotta do it because like. Yeah. I don't know. That's just resistance trying to convince you to not do things, right? It's like, oh, but what if? What if? It's like, yeah, what if? But fucking, what if you don't do anything? Well, then you'll die miserable. So, might as well try something, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should end it on there.
Yes. We should. We really should.
All We're running past.
It's time. It's time for our bedtime. We both got to be up early in the morning. Well, you don't have to be, but I do. And
I'm probably gonna get up at like. I'm gonna set my send my Clark to 7:50. That's what I'm gonna do. 7:50.
Yeah. Watch out for that slippery soap, too.
It's not slippery soap. Yeah, man, Alex, just fucking try it out. Try it out, man.
Fucking try it out, mate. I think what I'll do is I'll do a vertical slice of what my idea is. I'll just do a short piece of it to like completion that I feel good about, and then I'll present it to you, and then also, you can tell me what to do.
Remember, like there's two problems with this Kickstarter. There's two problems with this Kickstarter, Alex.
Who's yours?
Yeah, mine. There's two problems with my Kickstarter. Well, that I'm trying to make.
Oh, really?
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one is I did a sci-fi campaign thinking that it would be easier and I could make a successful Kickstarter. So
that's why you chose sci-fis?
That's why I chose sci-fi, because I thought it would be easier.
I thought you were into it.
And so
which maybe
I am into it, but I did it for the wrong reasons. What I should have did is I should have did something that I wanted to actually try to do more in the aspect of not do something that's expedient, do something that's more meaningful. Like I should have took more time and think about something more meaningful, and then
should you have though? Or maybe you're just like you do that and you come out with some kind of monster like Metallica did after 8 years and nobody likes it. And
that's true. Nobody did.
They should have just made another Ride the Lightning like they'd always done.
Nobody's gonna get that reference except me and you.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, but I get that reference. That's a good one.
What was your second issue?
My second one was the scale of it. I think was too big. I think I should have spent.
You know what I think that was? I think it was a little bit of resistance on your part, because there's like once you're done modeling, and maybe it worked out in your favor anyways. But once you're done modeling, there's like I think the hard work of like marketing and communicating and all that sort of like kind of businessy setting up selling your thing.
Yeah.
That I think you were like procrastinating on that by just modeling more content.
Yeah.
Because that's the comfort zone. Which is going to be great for your backers because they just get
more shit.
More shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll go away. You'll just get one in the sack. But you know what it also does is like kind of at least you don't feel like you left anything on the table. You can't say to yourself, maybe I should have modeled 5 or 10 more things, right?
That's true. I'm still thinking about like, I should offer a little bit more. I'm like, nah, stop it.
Yeah.
Just
well, the thing is,
stretch goals.
As you up your output, like the price kind of like, is the price going up too? Like, because then you're just on a treadmill, so. Yeah,
it just never ends, right?
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. Goddamn. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're trying to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Where can I find you? That usually wraps things up.
Where can I find you? Well, hang on. I'm gonna do my ending speech.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Playing the Artist. Even though we talked a lot about other crazy shit besides art, you can join us every Tuesday, except today, because today was Monday, and actually, tomorrow is Tuesday, so we're not going to be on Tuesday. But usually on Tuesday, we're up in the morning at 7:00 Pacific time, trying to figure out this thing called.
Or Fabrice is going to wake up at 7 a.m. and be like, "Fuck, I could have slept in," because we're not going to be there.
Got that one viewer we can always call back to.
Yeah.
But yeah. Pacific time, 7 usually, but not today. I should have put out an Instagram post or something. Like, we should have a Twitter of this or something,
Yeah, Twitter would be good.
Twitter would be good.
Oh well, next time.
Still trying to figure out this damn thing. Yeah, man. Where can we find you, my dude?
Me, Instagram, Tiger Skull RPG, but Facebook, the Tiger Skull RPG or Dungeons and Tigers, because Facebook won't allow me to change the page to Tiger Skull RPG. So Dungeons and Tigers on Facebook. You can type in either one, you'll find it. But that's the tip of the spear, man, on Facebook, and that's where I drop things first. The most recent, and the juiciest content goes right there. So that's what I recommend.
Okay.
Man, you're passing out.
Yeah. So you can find me on the Instagrams, Forbidden Prince. That's Forbidden_Prince. And you can go to my Thingiverse if you want to download some models. Perhaps maybe give me a follow, which is just Forbidden Prince, one word. Or go to my ArtStation, which is just my name right here, and you can see some of my past artwork. And that's all she wrote for me, my dude. I'll actually see you probably next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or unless we hang out on Friday or something.
I think so. I've got a busy week ahead of me, but yeah.
Me too. I gotta get all these goddamn stretch goals.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Okay. I'm gonna turn this off.
Yeah.
All right.
Bon voyage.
Good night.
Good night.